Gen G for the last 2 years have been the kings of Korea, but we know the world
The greatest Faker performance you've never heard of. I bet you I've heard of it.
is T1's home ground.
I bet you I heard of this shit. Just saying.
Faker is the undisputed GOAT of League of Legends. 10 LCK titles, 2 MSIs, 4 World Championships, Unkillable Demon King, Hall of Legends
this is before
inductee,
he won the
you
fifth
know
one?
the drill. Because of this, he understandably has more world skins than anyone else. There are countless Faker moments you could cover, but today I wanted to talk about a Worlds performance that is often overlooked. Not because it
Well,
wasn't
it's a Worlds performance, then I've heard of it for sure.
dominant,
Is it like the season 7 one where he was like still looking like the best player in the world and he was just elo held?
or incredible, or didn't feature Faker absolutely popping off on people, because it did in fact feature all of these things. But because it was neither SKT's breakout tournament, the establishment of their dynasty, or the recapturing of their glory, it was a time of change for the game, the map, and the
Season 5?
pro meta, bringing League of Legends into
I mean,
the
this was maybe his best world championship in my opinion. It's either season 3 or season 5 was the best one.
modern era. Like everything else in Season 5, Faker had to change, and 2015 saw him tested in ways he'd never been before, with both his job and legacy on the line, forcing him to reinvent himself as a player and a leader. And yet, despite all the uncertainty, this Worlds caps arguably the most important year of Faker's career and might go down as his most dominant Worlds run of all time. And to top it all off, he did it on a champion that somehow no one else was playing at the time. This is the story of SK Telecom T1 Rise.
Bro, how is this unheard of? I thought this was like a very well-known Faker champion. Like I remember like everything about this is what he had, the fucking broccoli, he did the roll and shit. Like I felt like this was so big. After the tournament, he was like, I have so much to tell you guys. He like spoke English to the crowd. He's like, I have so much I want to tell you guys, but my English is bad, so I can't. Like he said something like this, and people like lost their mind. Dude, am I actually this much of a boomer that people don't like? This isn't just like one of the first things that people think about when they think about Faker.
Now, you might be sitting there saying that
Because for me, like the way I see things is like, if you're a Faker fan, to me, this is like the time where you should have became a Faker fan. Like this is like when you become a Faker fan, you know? Like if you're a Faker fan from like recent years, before I guess the last couple world, I mean, even in recent years, it's like being a fan of LeBron in like the Lakers era, you know? Like this is peak, bro. This is like where he solidified himself as the GOAT.
2015 Worlds was a stomp for SKT. Where's the drama in that? While from the top, 2015 looks like just another dominant year from Faker, if you go a little deeper, you'll see that things were actually quite a bit more turbulent below the surface. Let's head back to October 2015, where Europe is hosting their second ever World Championship across Paris, London, Brussels, and Berlin, with 16 teams from around the globe chasing the all-important Summoners Cup. Faker and SKT arrive at the group stages in Paris as expected, but they do it hungry for revenge. After winning Korea's first World Championship in dominant fashion back in 2013, Faker and
Piglet ruined the team in 2014, so that's why he got kicked, and then they won 2 more Worlds. We know the story, man.
SKT had a disappointing follow-up, failing to even get the chance to defend their title in front of a home crowd in 2014, losing out to Najin White Shield in the regional qualifier. While they're back at Worlds as the #1 seed, this is not the same SKT that fell apart back in 2014. 2015 marked the end of the sister team era in OGN, meaning that SKT had to combine both their teams, SK Telecom T1S and SK Telecom T1K, into one. In theory, this should be a good thing. Both rosters did good, but not good enough to make Worlds, so just grab the 5 best guys and win OGN. Easy, right? Well, in theory, SKT should have repeated in 2014, and they didn't even make it to Worlds, so we really shouldn't get ahead of ourselves here. SKT's unified 2015 roster features Faker and his right-hand Bengi from SKT1K, along with the side laners of SKT1S, Marin, Bang, and Wolf. This will turn out to be one of the most dominant cores in League of Legends history, arguably the most dominant given how many Worlds they'll end up winning together. For now though, that future is unknown. But hang on a second.
How many Worlds they end up winning together? It made it sound like they won like 5 or some shit. It's like they won 2 Worlds. Same as the last lineup, right? The ZOFGK lineup.
There's one more player we need to talk about. SKT also decides to keep S's mid laner EasyHoon to compete with Faker for the starting spot. This isn't like the fraudulent 6-man rosters we see nowadays with the sub just never touching the Rift. EasyHoon got playing time, like a lot of playing time. This is a graph of all Faker and EasyHoon starts over the course of the year. We've got Faker on the top and EasyHoon on the bottom. Green means a win, red means a loss, and gray means didn't play. They alternated starts throughout the first 12 games, and they ended spring with Faker playing just 60% of their games. Now, whether you see this as a genius way to light a fire under Faker's ass and force him out of his comfort zone, or as Coma meddling with this team needlessly and attempting to play God, is up to you. But you can't say it wasn't effective. This SKT lineup won, and they did it at a historic rate.
But why do they want EasyHoon to begin with? The preseason changes in 2015 changed the game in fundamental ways that still shape League of Legends today. It's not as simple as one patch note, but one of the long-term consequences of patch 5.1 was that it started getting a lot harder to play assassins in the mid lane, as control mages became the undisputed go-to picks in mid for the first time since the game's early days, and EasyHoon just so happens to be a control mage specialist. While Faker would one day be known for his Azir, Syndra, Orianna, and of course his Rise, OG in 2015 Spring Day 1 is not that day. He's not bad at these champions by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not the best in the world at them, at least not yet. At the start of 2015, Faker is still known for picks like Zed, Ahri, LeBlanc, and Riven, among many others. He's got his mages, but he's not the well-rounded player we know him as today. But the game is changing, and as we'll see in a bit, in his battle to win the starting spot, EasyHoon will force him to change with it.
SKT's usage of both mids seems pretty ordinary at the start until week 5, where SKT decide, well, I guess we can't just alternate them every game because then the other teams will know who to plan for in draft, so they start Faker before going back to EasyHoon in game 2. In week 6 against the first place GE Tigers, however, Faker gets his first test of the year and is put in for the full series. A test, it turns out he does not pass as SKT dropped the series 2-1. Their usage leans a bit more towards Faker until week 8, where we see a quintessential aspect of this 2015 SKT roster for the very first time. Faker as the closer. SKT uses EasyHoon in games 1 and 2 versus KT, then sends Faker in for the decisive game 3, and it works out pretty well.
But Faker comes in with Bank for the double, helps Bank pick up the triple, the ace, the match. It's a 2-1 victory for SK Telecom, and Faker 10-0-6 at the end there.
SKT close out the regular season with a decisive 2-0 over the GE Tigers, and it looks like he's finally won the starting spot. Just kidding. They start EasyHoon in game 1 of the semis, but Faker reverse sweeping CJ should cement him as the starter for finals, which is why they...
How shit was the format, by the way? You literally do well in the regular season and you only get to play semis and finals. Like, there was a time where you would go automatically into finals from LCK if you were first in the regular season.
Run EasyHoon in all 3 games and still stomp.
And there it is! The first Nexus turret down! The second Nexus turret down!
Tom! Look, it's SKT Tom, their coach.
A triple kill for Marin!
I like this guy. He was playing Udyr at the time.
And SKT with Tom, with EasyHoon, takes the 3-0! GG! We'll see you at the Invitational!
And SK Telecom really playing with fire in that last game, but they made it count. They finally got that 5th dragon and were able just to push it through.
What a huge statement for this team. Going to Florida next week, they're like, we don't even need to use our main roster to win our season finals. What is this SK Telecom team? Wow, amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff.
Well, I gotta hand it to Coma here. That took balls, and the Tigers certainly weren't expecting him to put his feet up and just say, you know what, I think I'll just rest Faker in the finals. So halfway into the year, heading into the first ever MSI, even though Faker has slightly better stats, it's unclear how SKT are gonna proceed since EasyHoon looks really damn good himself and just started all 3 games in finals. As a credit to Faker, he's...
Wait, how based is Tom, by the way? This guy only played 15 competitive games in his entire career. Or sorry, 17 competitive games in his entire career. He was 15-2. He joined T1, the best team, towards the end of the split, ends up winning a championship, and then he just retires and becomes a coach. What the
Definitely been putting in the work to expand his champ pool, playing
this shit is
12
too
unique
easy.
champs mid lane compared to EasyHoon's 6, including an Anivia game. At MSI, SKT opt to start Faker first and continue to f around and alternate. Some will say that it was random, others will say it's because day one was Faker's birthday, but in my heart of hearts, I know it was because they knew that they'd need Faker to take down IEM Season 9 World Champions TSM.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Faker gets the nod and survives a close 5-game semifinal series with Fnatic that he enters at 15-1 in his last 16 games. So naturally, in game 1 of the finals versus EDG, SKT once again start
This is when he was getting solo killed by Febvin, by the way.
EasyHoon. But here's the thing about f***ing around like SKT have been so far this year. Eventually, you're going to need to find out, and they're about to find out big time here today. 3 games of EasyHoon puts them in a 2-1 hole, leading SKT to once again summon their closer from the bullpen. Faker has a monster game 4, forcing silver scrapes off the back of a 6-0-12 Cassinan performance. As the clock winds down at the end of Champ Select, it looks like SKT have this one in the bag with Faker on his signature LeBlanc, a pick that he's
Morgana.
never lost a game on in his
Counterpick.
professional career. But EDG have a plan for that.
They want when you have
Triple AP topside, doesn't matter.
LeBlanc in the mid lane.
Got it. Right up against the turret. Is this the finalizer from Faker here? Can he clean up
Pretty sure Eve did magic damage, but you built AD on her. I'm pretty sure that's how it used to work.
the fight? Koro a little too tanky for the damage they're bringing. There's the mirror image from Faker. He's going to start dancing around. Pulls back and Faker's good to go. They are still following with a bit of on the hunt pressure. Righteous Glory just wears off and they go in. Koro's right in the middle with Ben from Maelstrom on. That's a huge all damage. The Soul Shackle causing SKT to flash out every which way. EDG is all over SKT. Faker doesn't have that many stacks on that Magi. He's only 7 now. Now he's starting to stack it up as he takes down Mako. He still has eyes on the rest of the team. Elixir of Sorcery on him as well to get out a bit of extra damage. Koro finds him with the twisted advance as he pulls back to Distortion and he can't get out alive.
This is another very dangerous pair, and EDG needs it to win. Here comes SK Telecom.
Banky not there for the 50-50. Baron going very low at 1,500. It is going to go over to clear.
Down goes Faker.
They take down Faker immediately.
Bro, how anti-LeBlanc is this comp, man? You got Alistar, you got Morgana, Black Shield, and lane counter. You have Maokai to just press W. It's just GG.
EDG could have eyes on the base. EDG doesn't even see the turrets. Eyes on SKT. SK Telecom
Wait, are we in draft?
T1 are wiped. The Nexus turrets are going down. LPL's Edward Gaming are the 2015 mid-season invitational champions.
SKT fall for the trap and EDG
Mako, bro. Young Mako, man. That's crazy, bro. Young Mako. Can you believe this guy was 16? He was 16 and he won his first MSI and then he won Worlds 6 years later. Like, Mako's had a crazy fucking good career. Like, he played actually a little bit better recently, but he's not having a good year this year. Bro, this guy has been competing for 11 fucking years.
spring it to perfection. Faker may
This is
have wiped
11th
his
year.
champion pool, but EDG know that in crunch time he'll still revert to his old favorites and T1 stumble at the final hurdle. But there's still a lot more league to play in 2015. SKT start out hot in Summer Split, winning their first 13 consecutive series en route to a 17-1 split. Faker wins 18 of his first 20 starts and he's even pulling out Master Yi mid. SKT are just styling on people. Meanwhile, EasyHoon starts
This
just
shit was like actually broken though.
12 games in summer but wins 11 of them. Despite this, Faker seems to have finally won the starting spot, getting the start in the finals and obliterating KT 3-0 in the Telecom War.
3-0 in the spring season, 3-0 in the summer season. This is the year of SKT.
So, heading in the Worlds, just how much did Faker actually evolve as a player?
Go, bro.
To answer this, I've devised a somewhat bogus metric called the boringness quotient, meaning the percentage of times someone plays a traditional mage mid.
Okay.
I was originally going to call this mage percentage, but changed
Something Manny. I thought I said many. Something Manny 100% made up to push a narrative about Faker, bro. I like that shit. I like
it
that.
to the board.
Just say what it is, man. Don't do this like random bullshit that I see on Reddit and Twitter. Be like, I am making this up to make this video better. Okay? So accept it.
Boringness quotient for content purposes. As a control, 2023 Chovy had a boringness quotient of 45%. In 2013 and 2014, Faker played 57 games on what I'd consider traditional mages and 57 games on everything else, making him only 50% mages. 14, Faker played 57 games on what I'd consider traditional mages and 57 games on everything.
Okay, to add context, because I was a pro player during this time, Riot did like drastically change the meta. So it's like a lot of this stuff, like everyone was playing Zed at the time, everyone was playing Yasuo, Talon. Like if you go back and you look at Boy Games of Legends, here, I'll show you guys this. Like just in 2014, this is just in spring, he played Yasuo, Lulu, Nidalee, LeBlanc, Syndra, Akali, Vladimir, Ziggs, Kha'Zix mid, Kassadin, Gragas, Kayle, and Riven. In playoffs, he played Lulu, Yasuo, Akali, and Ziggs. And then in summer season, he played Yasuo, Orianna, Tristana, Lulu, Ziggs, Kayle, Talon, Ryze, Fizz, LeBlanc, Kayle, whatever. And then this is what he played in playoffs. So it's like, this was kind of just, I mean, it was just the meta, you know? Like you just played all these champions. Like out of these picks that seem like crazy, Void played a Nidalee mid, he played a Gragas, he played a Kassadin, he played Zed, he played Riven, he played, I already said Riven, Talon, Fizz, Yasuo, he played a Diana game. I mean, you get the point, right? Or maybe he didn't play a Diana game. You get the point. It's like a lot of these actually were like meta, and then the meta drastically changed.
Everything else, making him only 50% boring. Now, did I count old Nidalee as a non-traditional mage specifically so this would be a 50-50 split? Yes. Yes, I did.
Yes, and Nidalee mid was like mega standard.
And yes, old Ahri was an assassin. Got a problem with that? Take it up with Deathfire Grasp. So how did Faker's boringness quotient...
This was like one of my favorite Faker plays of all time. This is when I thought he was like giga different, because what people don't understand...
Yes, I did.
Is that in 2013, this was like the real finals. And it was best of 3 only, right? I think that this was just a best of 3. Like this was the decider game, maybe. Wait, let me see. Worlds 2013, because they used to do a lot of best of 3s, bro. No, this was a best of 5. So this ended up going to 5 games.
And yes, old Ahri was an assassin. Got a problem with that? Take it up with It
was quarterfinals was best of 3, and semifinals was best of 5.
Fire Grasp. So how did Faker's boringness quotient change in 2015? Well, it went up from 50 to 66%. A far cry from EasyHoon at 92% boring, but still a marked improvement. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering one thing. Is this statistic useful?
No.
I don't know.
Alright Manny, you've had your extremely long tangent. Time to get this video back on track at the 2015 World Championship. So not to spoil anything, but Tier 1 absolutely f***ed this tournament. Winning Worlds with an absurd 94% win rate, dropping just 1 game in the finals against Coup Tigers. But Faker doesn't win this Worlds with flashy highlight reel plays, he's not winning these games on Zed or Riven, he's winning them on mages. Faker's most played champion at this event, the champion he would get his second World skin for, is his Ryze. At the time, this honestly isn't that remarkable, given that Faker isn't known as a Ryze player, the champion isn't very popular or hyped as OP heading into the tournament. Faker, can play everything, he even played Olaf mid in this event as a counter to Aurelia, and he only played 5 games of Ryze, but these 5 games, his most played of the event, had a huge impact. Enough to make Faker so synonymous with the champion.
How fucking stupid was Season 5 Ryze? Bro, we didn't realize that Ryze was OP in summer after the rework, and then we played 1 game of it on stage. We played versus Gravity, and they completely fisted us. Like, the Ryze just 1v9'd the game, and then we just banned it. Like, Ryze was so ridiculous of a champion, man. This was such a stupid champion.
Olaf's his most played of the counter to Aurelia.
It was the machine gun Ryze. So what you do is you would like
5
ult,
games of Ryze, but...
Or was it your path? I forget how it works. I think it was your ult,
These
right?
5 games,
you ult, and then you just could perma-root them. It was so fucking stupid, bro. Like this, I think when things come out, a lot of times I do feel like they're more OP than they used to be. But then you think about some of the old disgusting shit, and it was just like so ridiculous. Like, look at this, man. The only thing was just that people were worse generally at the game. So when you'd play against Ryze and solo queue, they just wouldn't be doing shit like this.
Most played of the event had a huge impact. Enough to make Faker so synonymous with the champion that he's portrayed as him in
So you just press W, Q, E, Q, W, Q, E, Q, W, Q, E, Q, W. And you just perma-root them, just machine gun Ryze. And your abilities would be AoE during that. So you'd like one-shot everyone around them too.
The music video. No, the reason it's so fascinating is that inexplicably, no one else at this tournament is playing Ryze. Okay, technically one other player at the event does try it. Bangkok Titans mid laner G4 plays it against SKT, and for some reason, he picks it versus EasyHoon rather than taking it away from Faker.
What do you mean taking it away, bro? He's R5ing. He's picking on R5. The TF is already locked in.
SKT, and for some reason, he picks it versus EasyHune rather than taking it away from
It's not like Fearless Draft, bro. It wasn't Fearless Draft back in those days. He was just playing it.
Faker. Other than this blip on the radar, all of the other games on Rise in this entire tournament are played by Faker and only Faker. Rise is played 6 times overall in this event. For comparison, Lulu, the most played mid at the event, was played 3 times more than that. The most played champions at the event are Darius in top lane and Elise in the jungle at a staggering 38 and 39 picks respectively. The mid pool is pretty diverse at this event, all things considered, but how is it that one player is dominating with a champion that no one—
Bro, this Worlds was like giga cringe in terms of, so for context, this Worlds was the one where they did the Juggernaut rework. So like Darius was like taking over, bro. People were getting pentakills on Darius in this tournament. There was other bullshit running around. There was like Mordekaiser became the best AD carry in the game, so it was like banned almost every game in this tournament. Like Fiora was randomly super OP, but no one knew how to play it because it was like kind of skilled. They completely, like, GP was hidden super broken, but no one really knew how to play GP because like the barrel game just came out. So this tournament was so up, bro. This tournament was insanely up.
No one else at a tournament filled with the best players in the world are attending. It's not even getting banned at this event. In fact, it'll get banned as often as Olaf and Narwhal at this tournament, only twice. Both times against Faker, of course. Matchups don't seem to be the deciding factor either, as Faker will pilot Rise against Twisted Fate, Echo, Lulu, and even Kassadin. So if it's not a counter pick, and it's not getting banned—
Sven, OG Niels, my goat.
What on earth—
White Gala. Bro, it's actually crazy. Sven's career is crazy. The fact that he's like one thing that I really respect Sven for is that he went to support. Normally when somebody goes from AD carry to support, they never come back. Like having the confidence to go support for 2 years, win 2 out of 3 championships when you play support, and then be like, all right, well, if Berserker's not on my team, like there's no one else. Like I don't want to play support for anyone else besides for Berserker, so I'm just gonna play AD. And going back to AD, that's respectable.
What is going on? The greatest player to ever grace the game is giving you the Season 1 Hotshot in Italy GG treatment on a champion no one else understands, and that's just chill with everyone? He's not coasting in games when he picks his champion either, by the way. He looks untouchable. To understand better what's going on here, we have to take a few steps back and look at the champion's history a little more closely. Rise is one of the game's original 40 champions, named after the moniker of Riot co-founder Brandon Beck, and he's been in the game forever. Rise is also infamous among the League community for being the champion that seemingly gets remade every other patch cycle. It's not actually that often, but Rise has received a number of different reworks to his kit over the years, and this event actually had one drop right before the tournament started. As is tradition, the entirety of Worlds was played on a single patch. The Worlds patch for this event was 5.18, and it stayed that way for the entire time. Before we open that can of worms though, let's talk about Rise specifically, because the Purple Bookworm has had quite the year already. All the way back in patch 5.8, Rise received his first ever gameplay update, intended to bring the champion into the modern game and make the—
So dumb. So dumb.
Admittedly now
Boss, why didn't you play this shit, bro?
boring champion more interesting, engaging, and with a gameplay feel that matched the increase in player skill and desire to press many more buttons. The original Rise was a very simplistic mage, throwing orbs at you, putting you in rune prison every now and then, but mostly just clicking targeted spells on you until someone went down. A cool concept and an important—
I liked old Rise, bro. I like all the iterations of the game. I don't know why, I just don't get that feel. Like, I don't know if I'm just old or I'm jaded, or I mean I've been playing League for like 16 years now, bro. It's actually crazy. Like I've actually just consistently played League for 16 years since I was a pro player, since I was in college. But like I just don't get the feel. Like when I see shit like this, like I remember it. This was so fun, bro.
And desire to press many more buttons. The original Rise was a very simple—
I don't know if it's that everyone's too good at League now, where it's like things just feel so normalized.
Simplistic mage, throwing orbs at you, putting you in rune prison every now and then, but mostly just clicking targeted spells on you.
Nostalgia? No, it's not nostalgia, because like I can just tell from my own behavior that I used to really want to play League, where now whenever I queue up to play League, it's like, bro, whatever. I should probably just not let myself become washed, like actually washed, you know? Like, I need to still be able to like hit Challenger, even though I'm like turning 35, or else I'm like just worthless as a human being or some shit. Like that's literally how I view it, dude, because it's like, how many things have I been good at in my life to the same degree as League? Literally nothing, by the way. There's no other thing that I've been like top 0.00001% out of like 60 million in my entire life, right? So I might as well not let it go. But I just do it like, I know, I don't feel anything, bro. I don't feel anything. When I hit Challenger, I'm like, oh, that's cool, bro. Like, that's it.
until someone went down. A cool concept and an important part of the lore of Runeterra, but very much a champion that felt original, which in 2015 you could safely translate to dated.
Ryze is a dumbass, stupid-ass, broken-ass champ that you can roll your face over your keyboard and kill anyone post 6.
The new Ryze? Well, he pressed a lot more buttons than the old Ryze, that's for sure. The goal of the first Ryze update was to give him windows of power to operate in, and the Spellslinger playstyle was really sweet as a gameplay fantasy, even if it was detrimental for your hands. He was also disgustingly OP.
Very punishable. Blow your 5 foot. Look at
Look
this.
at
Oh,
this. Look at this. Look at this, bro.
So disgustingly
This happened to me on stage.
OP.
very punishable.
This was season 5. I played in this fucking split. Like I got this treatment.
Blow your 5 foot. Look at this. Oh, Seraph. Oh,
Here's the
turn
Ryze
away.
W.
Like what?
Turn away. Can I open my eyes yet?
yeah. Well, you can look Rip.
Okay, it looks like
Yeah,
That's on even items, by the way.
yeah, that sucked. The updated Ryze kind of felt like a champion in Earth mode, weaving through cooldowns rapidly and cycling spellcast after spellcast. The problem was that in practice, he was actually just an Earth champion, as his new passive Arcane Power gave him cooldown reduction for casting spells when he got enough stacks to turn on his passive buff. This created an unbelievably oppressive gameplay loop where the still powerful hypercarry mage would just absolutely dome you over and over with seemingly limitless spells. Between his passive granting him spellcast reduction and a shield whenever Ryze entered his supercharged state,
Look at it. Look at the lifesteal
he
too.
could pretty literally keep you in Rune Prison forever with enough mana. This is not an exaggeration. With the correct combos, timings, runes, and items, you could literally permaroot people. This was a real thing that was in the game. This had an immediate impact.
Oh, this was me. This was the game. I just told you about the game. This was literally the game. This was the game. We were just laughing afterwards. We're like, all right, I guess we're just retarded for not banning Ryze. You know? Like, I guess that champion was just OP and we didn't know. This was the game that we played where we just got completely fisted by Ryze.
Act on competitive league. Ryze did
Look at this situation, bro.
absolutely diabolical things in the hands of pro players, and
Look, Piglet doesn't even play it bad.
as a result, he was the second most banned champion in all of Summer Split across the globe, with just 92
Look at how Piglet plays it and he can't win.
absolutely
Piglet here.
diabolical things. Immediate impact on
Cleanses one route.
competitive league. Ryze did absolutely diabolical things in the hands of pro players, and as a result, he was the second most banned champion in all of Summer Split across the globe, with just 92 picks next to 470 bans. As a consequence, Ryze was hit with the nerf bat an unbelievable
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
amount of times. Remember that between this update being released and Worlds, there are 10 patches remaining, and Ryze gets changes in 5.9, 5.10, 5.11, 5.12, and 5.14, with most of these being nerfs. Most noticeably, his passive duration was reduced significantly, which turned Ryze from a machine gun of
Bro, it was 6 seconds.
never-ending arcane magic to a mage that was pretty cool and normal again, but clearly still resided in pro play jail. So Ryze has been an issue for a decent amount of the year, but coming into this tournament, it seems like everyone has written him off. That's at least in part because when the Ryze changes finally stopped, the Worlds patch that year would prove to be even more significant than a gameplay update of a single champion. Patch 5.16 might live in infamy until the end of time, because with Worlds right around the corner, the Juggernaut patch was dropped. The scope of this patch in proximity to the World Championship is actually staggering. I mean,
Draft started?
look at the amount of changes that are in this patch.
Back to the video.
Among many other things, the primary goal of the Juggernaut patch was to make the bulkier fighter champions like Darius, Skarner, and Mordekaiser better, and included a huge suite of changes to aid them. From that angle, it was a wildly successful change. Those champions were all extremely good now, but it turns out they were juiced up just a little too much, and all received nerfs by the time the final Worlds patch arrived. Skarner basically fell off a cliff and was barely present at this Worlds, but Darius and Mordekaiser were very much around, with the former being the most played champion top lane at the tournament. Mordekaiser would have been among them if he hadn't been banned basically every game, and for the most part, we didn't have to endure this version of Mord that cursed the dragon and then took its soul around like a Pokemon when you defeated it.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the TLDR of the meta we're in for this Worlds, one of the most unique in the game's history. Honestly, I give Riot a lot of credit for wanting to spice it up at Worlds. And
remember that shit?
It's not like they didn't give themselves some patch runway for changes after the Juggernauts came in, but clearly they didn't have enough time to tune 5.16 the way they wanted, and that's okay. It was a very different time. And also, there's a reason why we don't do patches this big right before Worlds anymore.
But why Faker of all the pros? Why was he the only one willing or able to make Ryze work? It's not like Ryze was a Faker special. He played Ryze just 5 times before the rework, and even in his super OP perma root state, Faker only picked Ryze twice in summer. I think it's actually because
Must have been banned a ton, no?
EasyHoon. While Faker was clearly the better mid laner, EasyHoon was still a really damn good player. Pulling up their stats across all of 2015, it's a lot closer than you'd think. But looking at just his stage games is a disservice to his impact. We don't see any of the hard work going on behind the scenes and in scrims. Would Faker have found this pick without EasyHoon legitimately fighting him for his spot and pushing him to get better all year long? I'm not so sure.
Probably.
Faker's playstyle clearly changed in a reaction to EasyHoon, and while EasyHoon was a control mage specialist, guess what mage he didn't play once in 2015? Did EasyHoon play in fewer games? Yes.
I don't even really consider, I just don't consider Ryze really a mage. I know it's like technically a mage, but to me, like a mage is like Orianna, Syndra, like something with longer range, something that is going to like have more like team fight ability, whereas Ryze to me is more of like a side laner, like scrappy, aggressive champion. It's like the same way I don't consider Annie a mage.
Did he play against worse teams on average? Yes. But he deserves a ton of credit for his work, Faker's development, and SKT's World Championship that year. This Worlds run really created the mythos of Faker as we know him today, not as an assassin player with incredible hands, even though he is that, but as a truly complete player. A dignified leader, looking poised and effortless at all times while grinding your team to dust while hardly breaking a sweat. That suffocating side of Faker that made him feel impossible to play against really came out for the first time in 2015. By the time the finals rolls around, it seems as though nothing and no one can stop T1. They have erased all memory of their 2014 failure, and after rebuilding and bringing in a substitute to challenge their star, T1 rolls on into their last series of the event with a stellar win rate, and who's in the starting chair but Faker? Over the 4 games that they'll play en route to hosting the Summoners Cup, Faker will not be taking his mantle of closer up again. He'll start the series and he'll stay in that chair on the middle of the stage till he and Bengi become the first players in the history of the game to win the World Championships twice.
Everyone had to do the right thing to avoid dying there, which is a little bit dangerous.
Flashes were blown in the mid lane as well. Looks like Faker and Kuro went hard, so there's no flash for this. Hojin in a real bad situation with the last bit of mana.
He's sitting in base for a long time and he's waiting to TP somewhere. He's going to bot lane now.
Just going into the river brush, but it's going to be Kuro getting dropped immediately. How did he even think he could take that fight? Sarah's Embrace wasn't even used by Faker, and they're ready to keep going for the fight. Gorilla chomps up Smeb as his teleport comes in. Bray gets caught way off on the wing here. Ku was not ready to take any sort of fight.
Ku has no idea how to deal with Faker. Ku Tigers, last stand, 2 enablers down. Here SKT comes.
On the hunt, goes in. That's going to be Hojin in a real sticky situation. He goes down a full 3-man Gnar ultimate. That's going to be Smeb down now. Eyes onto the AD carry, but the support hits. It's going to be Kuro out safely. Bray, however, has to run away from his base. SK Telecom looking to take down the final Nexus turrets. It does not look good for Kuro and his team. Ku Tigers are falling. SKT will be your first ever 2-time World Champions!
So what did we learn? How did no one but Faker play so successfully on a champion that was hit by so many nerfs that pretty literally no other player in the world even touched it? You could say it was counter.
I mean, he also just knew the spots, to be honest. Like, that's a huge part of it. He knew the spots to pick it. Like, enemy teams, like, Kassadin was considered really OP. Faker was playing the Kassadin really well. What ended up happening? Kassadin ends up getting blinded. Then he just picks Ryze into the Kassadin. It's like, GG, bro.
Pick-based, as Faker did only pick the Ryze in most of his games when he had an available counter pick, although not all of
them. Yep, exactly.
You could say that he found a mage to be comfortable on that even EasyHoon, one of the best control players to ever touch the game, couldn't play at the time. But I think it's most accurate to say that Ryze was aptly suited for the overall metagame. Even if his mid matchups weren't all that good, they didn't need to be. Ryze was still a scaling powerhouse, and in a lot of the lanes he found himself in, he could just freely farm until joining his team in the mid game. Given how many juggernauts were roaming around the rift,
Bro, I
and
thought the turret laser was so weird. I thought that was so weird, man. Playing competitive with the turret laser is so weird.
shorter range AD carries like Callista being prominent, Ryze is very good at winning the battle to short range champions, especially when he can get gold comfortably. But even this is just speculation. I genuinely don't know if an exact reason was ever given for why Faker was the only Ryze player in the world at this particular Worlds. So why
do you realize that Patrick has better mechanics and game knowledge than 90% of the players in this clip? I mean, yeah, that doesn't fucking matter, bro. Yes, people get better. That's like saying that like a fucking mid-tier player in the NBA now is better than like a player that played in like the 90s. Like the reason why Patrick is better than these players here is because these players competed and things were learned from these games and they're able to be applied to now. Like Patrick has the advantage of 10 years of time to gain knowledge from this game.
Why, above all his other picks, is Ryze.
Whereas like this game was like within 5 years. This is the 5th World Championship, bro. This was like the first 5 years that the game existed.
Ryze considered the Faker champion. Ryze isn't flashy or exciting. He doesn't really lend himself to climactic highlight reel plays. It's not Faker's first, second, or even third most played champion. He wasn't known for it coming into the event, and he only played it 5 times. For me, I think it has to do with Faker's playstyle. Back in 2016, with the SKT Dynasty looking unstoppable, Faker wrote a very reflective piece on his career in the Players Tribune called Unkillable, where he talked about what makes Faker Faker. I've often wondered what makes me great at League of Legends, and the best way I can describe it is that I structure my playstyle through calculation and intuition. I'm always learning new things, I can predict events before they happen, and that helps me to be in the right place and make the right play a step sooner than everyone else.
True.
I think Ryze highlights that playstyle better than any other champion. Faker's Ryze doesn't have any dashes or flashy tools because he doesn't need them. But until someone asks him, we won't know for sure, making this tournament perhaps the best unsolved Faker mystery that will have to stay just that. Tomorrow, Faker will play in the World Finals again, looking for his 5th title after an up and down year. They're facing off against the LPL first seed BLG, a team, of course, coached by EasyHoon. So will Faker win his 5th, or will EasyHoon finally get his revenge?
It's actually cool.
I don't know, but I'll leave you with some words from the GOAT himself. The day before winning his 3rd World Championship, Faker closed out his Players Tribune piece by addressing whether or not he still had what it took to win it all after all these years. Remember, he wrote this 8 years ago, back in 2016.
Damn.
For a while there, it felt like my intuition was off, and I didn't know if I could recover. But right now, I feel like I can play forever. At the start of this year, I'd have fears that I was falling from the top, and that maybe people were right when they said other players were eclipsing me. Not anymore.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the story of Faker is like, it's so good as it is. It's like, and in recent years, players did eclipse him individually, and then instead of being the player that could like just win by being simply just better at League the way he was before, he just outcompeted the players that might be better than him individually. You know, and that's like shows something about him as a person, that he was able to find ways to win. It's like some type of champion mindset where you're like, I'm just going to find a way to win no matter what. Doesn't matter. I don't need to be the best in order to win. I just need to like understand how to beat the opponents when it matters. Like that's actually cool. But people just ruin this story by doing the same shit they always do, where they're like, nope, Faker's just been the best player in the world for like 15 years. The entire time, he's just the GOAT. He's the best player in the world the entire time. So, of course, he's going to win no matter what. That's what the story became, which is just like, it's such a disservice to what Faker like went through and what he was able to achieve, to me at least.
Thanks for watching, everyone. For any T1 fans out there that see this video, please don't send any trucks our way unless they're beacons of positivity. Is this the best Faker performance of all time? You can make your opinion known down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new so that you know when the next banger is dropping. It's good to sub. It's like pre-saving the video from the future.
All right. I'm subbed, right? What? I'm not subbed? All right, I'm subbed now. There we go.